So today's lesson builds off of yesterday's, and it's going to be super short because it's all about graphing systems of inequalities. And so we've dealt with systems of equations, but now it's systems of inequalities. And so before we can graph a system of inequality, we first need to review how to graph just an inequality. And so, like before, you first want to put the inequality in slope-intercept form and graph using your solid or dotted or dashed line. And so first let's go ahead and solve for y. And in doing so I have minus y is less than minus x plus 2. When I divide everything by -1, remember to flip your inequality and you get y is greater than x minus 2. And also looking here, I see it's just greater than, so I'm going to be using a dotted line. So I have my intercept at 2. From there I move up 1 and over 1 for my slope. And I can draw in my dashed or dotted line, however you'd like to call it. Probably more dots than a ruler would have helped. Anyway. Next, you choose a test point to determine which half of the graph to shade. And I see the origin is clearly on one side, and so that's the point I'm going to use. And I prefer to use my original equation. So I have 0 is minus 0 is less than 2. 0 is less than 2. Yes, this is a true statement. And so because it's satisfied the inequality, that is the side that I will shade. And now that's all there is to graphing an inequality. And that's basically all there is to graphing a system of inequalities, which you'll see. So when you graph a system of inequalities, the only thing you're doing now is you're putting two equations with two things of shading on one graph. And it's just that easy. My biggest suggestion is to use a different color of pen or like marker and highlighter for each equation. So I'm going to do this top one in all red, and I'll do the bottom equation in all blue to keep it straight. So remember, when we graph an inequality, just like systems, we're going to do one at a time. And so I have 2x minus y is greater than 3. Greater than -3. And just like in the last slide, we have to solve for y first. Nothing changes. Minus y is greater than minus 2x minus 3. When I divide by that -1, remember to flip my sign. And when I graph it, it's just y is less than, so I'm going to be using my dotted line. My y-intercept is 3, my slope is 2. And I'm going to draw in my dashed line. Now, remember, like I said initially, I'm going to shade in the same color. My test point I'm going to use is my origin. So if I plug in 0, 0, I have 2 times 0 minus 0 is greater than -3. This gives me 0 is greater than -3. That is true. And so I'm going to shade the side with the origin. And so, notice I did this all in one color to keep things straight. And notice all I focused on is one equation right now. And so right on this graph, I just have this top equation on there. Now, because it's a system, what's going to happen is the second equation, I'm going to put right on the same graph. So 4x plus y is less than 5. Just like with the red, I have to solve for y first so I can figure out how to graph. And y is less than -4x plus 5. I see it's just less than, so dashed line again. My y-intercept is 5. I'm going to move down 4 and over 1 for my slope. because it's -4. And I'm going to use that nice dotted line all the way. I would suggest using a ruler in real life. And now I have to figure out what side of my line to shade. I'm going to pick a test point. It can be any point. And I'm going to pick the point 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. -5, 0. Just so I can see which half I would shade. And when I plug that in, I get 4 times -5 plus 0 is less than 5. So -20 is less than 5. Yes, that is true. So I'm going to definitely shade the side with my test point. And there is my system. And so what's happening here is they're saying that where my highlights overlap, so between this V of my two equations, right in there is my solution, or my solutions, I should say, to the system. That's all graphing systems of inequalities is.